Hello. Let's give it a few minutes, see if anyone jumps on. Let's add some light. Hello, welcome to Nonna's Kitchen. Hey Deanie, how are you? Welcome to Nonna's Kitchen. I'm gonna make hey Mandy, I'm gonna make an Instapot pork, pulled pork. And so that's what I'm making, and I'm gonna add that, to that some roasted vegetables. So we're gonna do two things today in Nonna's Kitchen. So let's get started. Guys, what did you do in this beautiful day today? My husband is working out in the yard. So he is planting some plants. We have, if you've ever seen my patio area, we have this huge, gigantic propane tank outside, and so we decided we're going to hide that with some plants. So he's out there working away. So if he pops through those doors back there, just know that could happen at any time. Okay, so I found this recipe on tasteandsee.com. It's low carb, and it is a pork roast in my Instant Pot. So I can take it and just throw it in the pot in 20 minutes. He has pulled pork. So, well, it's 20 minutes of cook time, 15 minutes of natural release, and then I'm going to stick it in the broiler for about 2 minutes. I'll spread it out on a cookie sheet, and just to get a little bit of crisp on the meat, at the top of some of the meat. All right, so let's get started. Oh, Mandy, you've got me on TV. Okay, well, now I'm a TV star. Not. But if you do find value in this, share it out. And I did hear from my sister Maria that sometimes she doesn't get my notifications. Guys, tap on my face and 3 little dots will appear. And if you click on the dot, you can turn on notification and know when I'm gone live. So come on into Nonna's Kitchen and let's get started. So we're going to start with the rub that's going to go on the pork. So the recipe actually called for a tablespoon of salt. In my family, that's a bit much for my husband. So I just did a teaspoon of salt, and he can add salt later if he wants. But I used Himalayan salt, and because this is a pulled pork recipe, I happen to have Himalayan salt that had chipotle in it. So I just added a teaspoon of that. So additionally, we're going to add a teaspoon, and again, this was my choice, this wasn't in the recipe, of dried barbecue rub because my husband likes it. We're going to add a teaspoon of cumin, that was in the recipe. A teaspoon of chili powder. A teaspoon of black pepper. A teaspoon of oregano. Hey Dean, how are you? Jackie? All right, so I'm just gonna kind of mix this together. Just make sure that all of that is incorporated. It doesn't really make a lot of spice as far as a tremendous amount, but it will cover. I just have a small pork roast. It's just 2 people eating meat at my house. I'm not one of them. And so that just allows for that to go on that pork. Now, because I'm doing this in my Instant Pot, hey Tammy, Hey Angela, we are doing a pork roast in my Instant Pot today. So because we're doing this in my Instant Pot, I'm going to go ahead and let that start warming on saute. And while I'm doing that, just to make it manageable for me in my pot, I am going to cut the pork roast into a couple of pieces. If you have a big roast, you're going to want to cut it into several pieces because the Instant Pot doesn't have just a ton of room in the bottom of it. So I'm just going to cut these into 4 pieces. And this has just a little fat on it that I should have gone ahead and cleared off for you, but I'll just chop it off right now. Boom. And boom. All right, so I have 4 pieces. I'm gonna stick that in the rub and make sure that they get completely covered. Gonna move some stuff out of my way. All right, so I'm going to cover this pork on all sides with my rub. Be generous with it. We decided that we would take a trip up to Sam's today, and we got in the parking lot, and they had the line wrapped around the building. There is nothing I need to stand in line. First of all, I can't stand that long. Secondly, if I could, I would have to just really be in a dire strait to want to stand that long in a line anywhere. Would you guys stand in a line to go into Costco or Sam's? Let me know. I'm curious. And then we went, like I said, to Barn Nursery, because he wanted some kind of grass that has a plume at the top of it to hide our propane tank. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to my pot, which is heating. This is a half of a tablespoon measuring cup. So, measuring spoon. So I did 4 of those. And I'm going to lay this over here because I'm going to use it again in just a minute. All right, moving spices out of the way. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to, hey, Aj, how are you? It's a beautiful day out. Surprised you're inside. Figured you'd be doing some kind of gardening or something like that. Hey, Tina. Welcome to Nonna's Kitchen. We are doing an Instant Pot pulled pork roast. On the tasteandsee.com is where I got the recipe. I have changed it up to suit my needs. Carnita is the name of the recipe. All right, so I have my oil in here. All right, it's sizzling, so I'm going to stick this in here. I've cut my roast into 4 parts, and I'm going to brown that about 2 minutes on each side. Yeah, you were in the garden this morning. Hey, Jaden, sweetie, I love you. Nonna loves you very much. Selena, girl, I'm with you. I would not, there's no way. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. So we have about 2 minutes on each side. So, guys, we've got 4 minutes while that's cooking. So, talk to me. So this morning I got up and I taught a couple of classes. For those of you that don't know, I teach for a company, and I teach Chinese children to speak English. They are adorable. Just gonna say. And then we had breakfast. I made a breakfast casserole. I also made bagels, people. I made bagels. I can show you a bagel here in a little bit, but we won't talk about the recipe yet because it still doesn't have, it was delicious, don't get me wrong, but I like the bagel because bagels are boiled and then baked, and this didn't do that, but I've got to figure out how to hold it together a little better so that I can do the boil before the bake so I can really have a bagel. But I did it with the cinnamon crunch like they have at Panera, and I'm not gonna lie, it was good. My husband wanted the cinnamon. I would prefer like an everything bagel, or something like that, but you know, every now and then it's nice to have the cinnamon bagel. But that's not, I would rather have the savory bagel. So, Jaden, you're going to have to tell Nonna later what you're doing today. Are you downstairs playing on your slide? I love watching you. You'll have to call me later and let me watch, okay? Joe, what are you doing? Just watching it, guys, so that it doesn't burn. I wish you could smell it. Let me show you inside the pot. Woo! Let's hope my phone don't end up inside the pot. That's alive. Me trying to be a cameraman, and I am not a cameraman. I need Tuck Watts for that. Once I get these browned, I'm taking them out of the pot. Well, I'm so glad you're watching me, buddy. I'm taking these out of the pot, and we're going to do garlic and onion in the pot. And then we'll put all this back together again to cook. All right, so I'm going to let that cook a little bit. And we're going to prepare the vegetables while I'm waiting. All right, so I have parchment here. In this bowl, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I like some salt in my vegetables. I use Himalayan salt. I like garlic powder. I like real garlic. I like any kind of garlic. Not gonna lie. Hey, Ruth Ann, how are you feeling today? I like my vegetables to have a little bite to it. So I'm adding cayenne pepper, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So, and then some pepper to taste. Salt and pepper is always to taste. All right, so there we go. Let me check on the meat. Looking good, not gonna lie. And you see how it's just really steaming up. Look how brown it is, okay? And of course it's not finished, but we're gonna pull that out. And into this pot now is gonna go my onion. I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of garlic. Oh, it's smelling good. Now this only has to render down about 2 or 3 minutes. Hey, Faye. How are you? What'd you do on this pretty day? Ruth Ann, what did you and Kathy do? So I'm going to let that sit while we continue with our vegetables, kind of moving back and forth. All right, so in this big bowl for my vegetables, I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, salt and pepper to taste, and garlic powder, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And now I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of squash, butternut squash. Some butternut squash. I'm losing my mind. I have a yellow squash, adding that. I have cauliflower. All right. So I am going to toss this together. Hang on. Here should be spoons, that'll be easier. All right, much easier. I want to coat that, you don't want it oily or greasy, you just want to coat it. Such exciting lives we live, Ruth Ann, right? What are you guys going to have for dinner tonight? All right, so that's tossed. Let's check on our onion over here. And our garlic, it smells delicious. Now I'm going to add just a splash of the stock. This is vegetable stock, just to make sure I get all the crumbs of meat off the bottom of my pot. And then I'm going to take this out. And the reason why the recipe did not call for you to take this out of the pot, but I have used this Instant Pot enough to know that if I don't take these onions out, what's going to happen is the onions, as they cook down, are going to start sticking to the bottom of the pot. And then my pot is going to notify me that it's burning, and I'm going to have to take the whole thing out anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right up front, and then add it right back in after the meat is in. So the first time I did this, it didn't do that, but my mom's did, and I thought, well, I've never had that problem. Sure enough, the very next time, that's what happened. All right, so now we're ready to get this started. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my 2 cups of broth. I like to add a splash, and when I say a splash, let's measure it so you guys can see it. About 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, just to give it that little bite. Now we're going to add back the meat right into the pot. And now on top of that is going to go the onion and the garlic. And now I am going to add a few banana peppers. Someone's calling my husband. You can't make this stuff up when it's live, people. It's probably my daughter Mandy. Mandy, are you calling your dad? All right, so I'm gonna grab 4 banana peppers in here. My peeps love the banana peppers in their meat, so there you have it. All right, I am closing the pot. I'm putting it on pressure, and I'm setting it for 20 minutes. Remember, I said that once it completes its cooking process, hey Damon, I am making hey Tim, I am making a pulled pork in my Instant Pot, and we just added to the Instant Pot. I made a rub for the pork. I cut the pork. I've kind of browned the pork up, and now it is gonna cook in the Instant Pot for 20 minutes. Then I will do a natural release for 15. And once I shred the pork, I will lay it out on a pan. And then I'm going to broil it for a few minutes just because it gives it that little bit of crunch texture on some of the meat. And that makes it really nice. Hey, Renita, I love it when my cousins get on. All right, so in this pot, guys, we're doing roasted vegetables. And in here, what I've added, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, salt and pepper to taste, garlic, about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and cayenne pepper, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. I kind of like things spicy, and this is really for me. So now I'm going to spread these guys out onto my pan. Has some beautiful color. I'm going to give it one more toss of salt. The difference in my husband and I is I like salt, probably a little too much. All right. Now these bad boys, let me show you what they look like. Look how beautiful. They are going, hey Linda, hey Crystal, these are going in my oven. My oven is preheated to 400 degrees, and they're going to go in again for about 20 minutes. So together, they, hey, on here, I'm Nonna. None of that doctor stuff on here. I'm just Nonna. This is my kitchen, and I welcome you into it. Hey, Stacy. So I'm going to put these in the oven for 20 minutes on 400 to roast them. I will toss them in that 20 minutes a couple of times. Hey, Nancy, welcome to Nonna's Kitchen. And then I will pull them out. So let me do that, and we'll talk some more. Because I want the vegetables to come out about the same time as the meat. And then I need to just finish off the meat because I need the oven to do that. But let me move that out of the way so I can talk to you guys without feeling like my kitchen's dirty. It's all behind me, and I can worry about that in a minute. So today we did pulled pork. How am I going to finish that off? After 20 minutes in my Instant Pot, I will do a natural release for 15. I will shred it, put it on a baking pan on parchment because I like the ease of the cleanup. And I'm going to broil that. Hey, Dee. I feel honored today. I've got several cousins on here. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining. I will put that pulled pork into the broiler for about 2 minutes just to get the edges of the meat crispy. Dee, we are making a pulled pork recipe that I'm doing in Instant Pot, and I'm making roasted vegetables. I have yellow squash, cauliflower, and just a half a cup of butternut squash, just to give it some that sweet butternut squash flavor. And that is roasting in the oven on 400 for 20 minutes. After I take the meat out of the broiler, I am going to, you know my egg rounds. You know I've got those egg rounds. I'm going to toast up a few of those egg rounds and make them just a little bit crispy. Add the pork on top of that with the sauce. When I get the sauce out of here, I'm going to thicken it up. I'm going to strain off Hey, Grumpy. Jaden wants to say hi. He said he'll tell you later, buddy. He doesn't want to come on this live. So the sauce, I'm just going to put this back on saute, and then I will use some of my almond flour to try to thicken part of that up. Probably some beef bouillon just to add, flavor and thickness to that. It's not meant to be a gravy. It's meant to be like that's hot, an au jus sauce. But that'll go, just a little bit of sauce will be tossed into that meat. It'll have all of those wonderful spices that we've added. If you missed that, we added pepper, chili powder, oregano, cumin, salt and pepper, and then garlic and onion, and you can never have too much garlic. And so, guys, that'll be served with those delicious roasted vegetables, and that's what's for dinner. So, at Nonna's house, we're sticking with the low-carb, keto, lazy keto lifestyle. I don't count macros or any of that. I just try to keep it simple, try to keep it easy to do, and so far it's working. I'm down 15 pounds, he's down 30, so it works for us. I will definitely put you in the on the recipe, Dee. Hey, Jennifer. Guys, if you are watching me live, put a 1 in the comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you did today, even more than that. Yeah, because Mandy, so my daughter asked if my husband cared about the garlic being in there. And he is not a super duper garlic person, but because it all renders down and you're not gonna, he's not going to be eating a chunk of garlic, just like he won't be eating the onion. What will happen is I'll take the meat out to shred it, and that'll go on the thing. I will strain the onions and the garlic and put the sauce back in. So the onions and garlic are there for the seasoning and the spices to spice up the meat and give it that really good flavor. Hey, Dee, that's what William was doing today, was planting. Hey, Loretta, welcome. Welcome to Nonna's Kitchen. I'm glad you were able to jump on here. We are just finishing up this live. Hopefully you'll watch the replay. I did a carnitas pulled pork in the Instant Pot, and I did butternut squash, cauliflower, and yellow squash. I'm roasting those vegetables now. For me, I am going to have that with a delicious thyme broth, because I just love the thyme broth that the company that I get my ketones for. I love that that broth, and I could have it almost every day. And so for me, I'm going to have that, and I'll probably toss my roasted vegetables into that to finish it off for me. For them, they'll have the egg cratinis crust. I'm going to bake those up where they're a little crunchy, and then we're going to add the meat to that, a little cheese, just because they like it that way, and a little bit of the sauce, and that will be what is for dinner. So I hope you got value out of it. I enjoyed coming to you guys, and tell me what you would like to see me cook next. Oh, I forgot to show you. I promised to show you the bagel. Again, it's not ready for me to come do a live because I still want to improve upon the recipe. And so I did this, at my husband's request, we did the cinnamon crunch on top, and it is delicious, but it doesn't have that chewy texture of a bagel, and that comes from boiling a bagel. This recipe didn't call for boiling a bagel, and quite frankly, the dough would not have held up to boiling it. But I have a thought in my mind, and so if I can make that work, I will let you know. If not, hey, they were good. They're not what I would call my type of bagel. When I was a little girl, we didn't have bagels here in the South, quite honestly. And so my grandmother used to send us a care package with certain things that we couldn't get here at that time. And so, so I have in my head, you know, food brings memories to me. And so I need that, that memory to trigger. And so these aren't there yet, but they will get there, I think. I think I can get there. There are a couple of things I'm struggling with. Dee, if you come up with some good ideas, let me know on pasta. I haven't had a good pasta recipe yet. I'm still playing with that. And I need that in order to make the chicken and dumplings. So I can do the chicken part, no problem. And Scott Williams says he's never going to show up on live. He just doesn't, that's not his thing. He doesn't want to do that. That's your job when Mandy scares you. So, all right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Have a wonderful day and look back on this for the finished plates. Bye, guys.